is the Kia Sorento LX Premium. It has the 4-cylinder non-turbo engine, and I think that we're going to sell a lot less of these vehicles when the new 2023 Kia Sportage comes out, which is in the next month or two. Next little while it's coming out, because they share an engine, they share things, they share a lot, and the new Sportage is larger than the current Sportage, which makes it kind of an intriguing option here. Now, first of all, two quick things. One, I'm not American. This may still be a very relevant vehicle or video for you if you're American, but in Canada, Kia Sportage is pronounced Kia Sportage. So don't give me a hard time in the comments. I just do what they tell me to do, all right? All right, if you're a regular with us, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you want to watch just the content of this video, feel free to skip ahead to the 3-minute mark if you're not live with us. If you are live with us, we're going to go over some news, some notes, some other things. We'll talk about that, and we will be starting the content at the 3-minute mark. We'll show you how to join us live if you want to stick with us as well. So let me do that right now. All right, to join us live, I'm going to have a little seat here. You can go through to our YouTube channel here, and you can see we have a standard video here that's there pretty much every day. And if you refresh the page exactly at 2 o'clock, which is what we're doing right now, then you will see that that standard video is replaced here by our live video. I'm going to click into that. They're going to watch an ad for a quick second. I'm going to flip you around to me. Ooh, it's the Tiger Cats. If you are American, you have no idea what the Tiger Cats are. That's our almost local football team. All right, if you are in the market in Ontario to buy a new vehicle, reach out to me. The link in the description, that'll be there as soon as the video is done being live. Will connect you with me, and I will connect you with Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, or Owen Sound Hyundai. Those are the 3 dealers that support this channel, and yeah, you can support them. They're awesome to deal with. All right, real quickly, what's going on news and notes-wise? I know you guys are asking about the new Sportage. I don't have a ton of information on that yet. Hyundai World, there is the Elantra N and the Kona N pricing has been released. I don't have that on hand. I should have written that down, but it is released. A quick Google search will tell you the Canadian price on that. Pretty competitive. I think that's a pretty fair price. I think it was like 37-ish MSRP for the Elantra, which is a pretty good deal. Kona costs a little bit more. So that's a pretty good value there. EV6 information, I still don't have pricing on that. Sportage, we have an information sheet, which you can see on this video, but we don't have pricing on that. Ioniq 5, you guys are continuing to ask me a lot of questions about that car. I'm thinking about pulling that back in here probably on Friday, potentially. So we'll just sort of see how our week shapes up, and that's what's going on there. I think that's it for news and notes for today. We got about 15 seconds to go. Do me a favor, guys. 48 of you are on. If you're all regulars, we're super low on likes right now. So do me a favor, hit the likes if you want, and we'll beg for likes about halfway through a little bit later. All right, so here we go. Oh, I just lost a like. Somebody took a like away from me for asking for likes. All right, here we go. 3 minutes in. What we're talking about today is the LX Premium Kia Sorento, and we're doing that in the context that if you order one of these right now, you might have it fairly soon. It's not actually too bad, but you may get the Kia Sportage almost as quickly. And the new Sportage has been redesigned, and I firmly believe that the new Sportage will replace this vehicle for a lot of people. It will be something that takes the place of this in the sales numbers. In my Instagram poll that I did this morning on Instagram, I did a poll, and I think it was 79% of you, when the question I asked was, would you buy this now or wait for the new Sportage? 79% of you said you would wait for the new Sportage. So we're gonna basically find out, or help you guys find out, if you are right in your assumptions that that is something you want to wait for, or if you are incorrect and maybe this is the right vehicle for you, and then you can go from there. So that's our whole point of this video. Really quickly, let's take a quick look at what we're doing here. Sorento is right here. So the Sorento has 2 base models, entry-level models. Once you go to the X line in Canada, again, it's different in Canada than the States. The X line is the 2.5-liter turbo. It's got a little different fuel efficiency number. It's got a little bit more horsepower, right? 281 compared to 191. These 2 vehicles here are the 2.5-liter non-turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's going to be the same engine as in the 2023 Kia Sportage. There will be probably a hybrid, but the hybrid hasn't been announced yet in Canada. So we're looking at 191 horsepower here. There's your fuel efficiency numbers. The LX Plus is a fine car. I do think this one's going to really suffer when the Sportage comes out, but the big difference is these are 7-passenger cars. The Sportage will only be a 5-passenger car. I do think this one here, though, this LX Premium, is something that you should really consider in addition to the Sportage, because it adds a pretty good number of features, and it is a pretty good value car, in my opinion. I know it's not cheap at $37,000, but this is from the here to here. The only, what is it, $3 grand more, $2,500 more, whatever that is. I can't do math on when I'm on the live video. It's not a huge jump to move to this vehicle, and I think that is a worthwhile jump just in resale value alone as far as the features you're going to get. So we're going to go spend some time, and here's how we do things here. We're going to spend about a half an hour going through this vehicle in detail. If this video is longer than a half an hour long, it's just because we're answering your questions or going a little bit off topic with your off-topic questions at that 30-minute mark. So let's dive in right now. One of the reasons this is worthwhile moving to instead of the LX Plus, this is the LX Premium, is right here. You have a keyless entry key here. So that means that you can basically keep this key in your pocket all the time and you don't ever have to pull it out to use it as a regular key. There is the remote start here on the key fob, which I think is also a nice thing. You don't get that on the lower trim level, so that's kind of left out of the specs a little bit, or it's a little bit more buried in the specs. Once you have this keyless remote, keyless entry remote, push button start, you also have that remote start from the factory on there, which is a nice little feature to have. This one is our, is it wolf gray or ghost gray? I think it's wolf gray on this car, better check. Wolf gray, it just says gray. I'm pretty sure it's called wolf gray here. There's a ghost gray on the Stinger, there's a wolf gray on other things. I quite like this color here. It kind of grew on me. I didn't like it at first, but it looks pretty sharp on this vehicle. And we'll talk about the outside in a second, but let's dive right through to the driver's seat first and take a look. Couple things that I really love about the Sportage, and you're going to get this on the, on the Sorento, you're going to get on the Sportage as well. The wraparound doors. You maybe not see what I'm pointing at right here, but this entire section is covered by the door, right? So it's wrapped around, and that bottom piece right here, if I can put my finger on there, is a rubber seal. That rubber seal keeps some of this dirt out. See all the dirt that I left on here? All of that would be on the bottom of the car. And when you get out of a taller SUV with your dirty pant legs, you can end up rubbing against there and having dirty pant legs when you get out because it's a little bit of a taller vehicle. You won't have that issue on the Sorento because it wraps around. Another really good reason to jump into this vehicle is the powered seats. Now you can see these cars come from Compound, and Compound is a gravel dirt parking lot. We have not cleaned this car yet, but that's sometimes how I can get them to you before they go out to customers. So this hasn't been cleaned, and it is what it is. But the powered seat is a nice option with the power lumbar. You guys all know that my back especially likes that power lumbar, so you have that. Jumping inside here, you have, very similar to what we showed you in the Kia Forte yesterday, the upgraded Kia Forte. You have a similar type dash layout here, almost exactly same dash layout here. Now, always ignore fuel efficiency. That can change. There's a whole bunch of reasons that could be different, but that's probably in the range of winter driving fuel efficiency. When I say ignore fuel efficiency, I mean at a dealership car. Dealership cars idle a lot. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we do that, and it can really skew that fuel efficiency number. So you have some nice things in here. You have things like just various fuel efficiency things. This is your drive modes, and it tells you if you're in, for instance, the smart mode, which we'll show you a little bit later. There are multiple drive modes here, but it tells you more economical or more dynamic. So you can do different things. And we'll go to smart mode. This is where the one where it really makes a difference here. In smart mode, as you're in smart mode, come on, there we go. If the gauge goes more economical, it'll leave you in the eco mode. This car has an eco mode, a comfort mode, sport mode, and the smart mode. The thing I like about smart mode is if you get into the throttle, you can see on this bar graph, when you're going more dynamic, it'll move you to that smart comfort and then smart sport if you drive more aggressively. So it's just kind of a cool little gauge in there that just tells you what kind of setup it's going to set the car up for. And of course, there's all kinds of other things here. You've got your lane keep, lane follow assist, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and all sorts of settings in here as well. Speedometer, all-wheel drive bar graph, so when you're driving in the snow or anywhere, really, it'll show you where the power is going to which wheels, which is kind of helpful, and tire pressure monitors as well. One update for 2022 model years. 2021, this car did not have a spare tire. This year it does. I think SUV should have, frankly, I think all cars should have it, but they don't always do that, and that's a nice little upgrade that they did include for 2022. So again, nice little display in here, color display. Again, for a lower level car, it's a perfectly good display. Now you have something over here that is good. You can get these cars with the big screens in here, 10.25-inch screens, but this one is the 8-inch screen, and the benefit with an 8-inch screen, as you all know with Kia and Hyundai, 8-inch screens currently are wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, whereas the larger screens are wired only. Now, somebody asked me a really good question. Can you do wired on this system? Yes, you can. Sometimes I forget to point that out as well. Just because it's wireless does not mean you can't go wired, so you can. And let's just turn on the radio here. Again, a lot of shipping. Whoa. A lot of shipping plastic in this car. You can see this doesn't look very clean, and that's just because there's a little plastic thing on there that I didn't rip off before the video. So some of this car, just don't worry about what looks like cheap plastic. It's just because there's shipping plastic on top of there. So let's click into the radio here. Radio is just a fine basic stereo. I will say the new Sorento has a very good bass stereo. You have HD radio, so that's high definition radio, and AM and FM, but the stereo quality is vastly improved on this level car, on the Carnival as well. So you don't have to go to that premium audio system to get a very good sounding radio, and that HD radio is a kind of a nice upgrade there. The other thing you can do is, even if you're not wirelessly doing CarPlay or Android Auto or that kind of thing, even if you just have a Bluetooth connection set up, you can still stream music from your phone. You can still do that flawlessly onto these screens, so that works very well also. Coming down here, climate control system is the same thing you would have on the top line versions. You have a dual zone climate control system. You do have a rear air conditioning system on here as well, so you can turn that on or off, and we'll show you the controls for that rear air system in the back. If you want it to be a dual zone climate system, you can do that as well. So I can have driver and passenger at different temperatures here, which again is not something you get on every lower trim vehicle. Somebody our new salesperson was talking about, he was surprised that the Seltos doesn't have a dual zone climate control system. You know, the upper line Fortes do, the upper line or the lower line Sorentos do, but yeah, on the Seltos we don't get that. So it's a nice little thing to have on this vehicle right here. The auto system is pretty cool too here. The auto system, as you guys know, when you set it to auto and it's full blast, it can allow the fan to go to a high speed. But if you turn it down, it will take longer to reach these temperatures, but the fan speed won't go over basically a medium setting, so a lower setting. And that just keeps it a little quieter in here, keeps you from getting that rush of air, especially in the summertime when you get out of a hot car and get outside and you come back, or get out of a comfortable car, go outside, come back in. Sometimes it blasts you with a really cold air and you get cold for a second until it finds a temperature. This will just take a little longer to reach that temperature, so it won't blast you with that cold air conditioning, and it can keep it quieter. So there's a whole bunch of benefits there. The vent setup on this car is excellent. It looks like sort of a design type thing. I know it's very space Star Wars-y-ish design to it, but it's actually very functional as well. So if you take a look at the vents here, of course they have a lot of movement like you would expect. You can close them off and open them, but down here these vents focus more down on your knee type area, so your leg type area, so you kind of get that warmth going to your whole body, both driver and passenger, and on both sides. It's not just the center ones. They've got that same design layout there on the side, so you really kind of spread the air nicely, and that's kind of a nice thing to have. Taking a look down here, you can cover this whole area there. On the higher trims, this would be a piano black trim. Not everybody loves piano black, and they give you the sort of base kind of look here, but you do have a couple nice features here. USB port, and another USB port. And where my hand is right now is where your phone will sit to be on a wireless phone charger. To me, if you're going to have the wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you also should have a wireless charger, which means you're just going to drop your phone here, and just the same as it hooks to Bluetooth, it's going to be ready to go for your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. What I recommend with that wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay especially is set this button up. You can set up to be a number of things, and you may have a better system than I do, but I like to use this to activate my Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So you can just pull that right up on the screen with the one touch of a button, and of course your phone can sit down there and stay down there, and still keep charged, which is kind of nice. Rump roasters are one of my favorite features, so I'm just going to turn that climate off. Rump roasters are one of my favorite features, and on the cloth seats, they work incredibly quickly, which is a nice benefit to have here as well. The other thing with this 2.5 liter turbo, 2.5 liter non-turbo, when you have the higher level Sorento, you get a 2.5 liter dual clutch transmission, or 2.5 liter turbo engine. You get the dual clutch 8-speed transmission. This is a traditional 8-speed transmission. Some people like those better, and it's just, you know, it's a little, just a different design, but it is a traditional automatic transmission. You can throw it in drive here, so you can see it's in drive. You can tap it this way, and you can choose your own gears if you want. If you want to tow with this vehicle, there was a listing in the past that was listed as 2,700 pounds of towing capacity. That was incorrect. It is 2,000 pounds towing capacity on this vehicle. So something to keep in mind. If you have a lightweight camping trailer, you can make it work. If you have a utility trailer, shouldn't be an issue at all. So there's that. All right, coming back around here to the steering wheel, I want to show you that you do have cruise control. That's kind of standard stuff everywhere. A lot of people are surprised to find out that this car is capable of steering itself, and very much in the Tesla autopilot type way of doing things. You have way over here a lane keeping assist button, and a lot of people know a lane keeping assist, it is capable of seeing the lane markers, and if you approach a lane marker, it'll beep and bounce you back in. It'll help steer yourself back in. But the lane follow assist is really the one you want. Lane keeping assist, the one we just mentioned, only works above 60 kilometers an hour. This one works at virtually any speed you're going to drive at, and if you see this symbol in your dash, it'll turn on right there beside the let's just zoom in. I'll show you where it comes on. Oops, there we go. Zoom in, so you can see the steering wheel there turns off, turns back on again. When you see that in your dash, when it goes green, the car is actively steering itself. And it's kind of an amazing system that makes driving easier, makes it just more relaxing. And it works great on a long road trip to just make it comfortable, because once you switch from a vehicle like this to a vehicle that doesn't have this, you find yourself always doing this. Little corrections, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Whereas when you have this car, the car does that for you, and it just makes a long drive easier. So it's something that not a lot of people expect in this car, but it is something you get. And when you have that, you have a camera facing forward. That camera facing forward always also gives you things like forward collision avoidance. So that is when it's capable of stopping the car to avoid a forward collision, or at least to minimize a forward collision. It's got that system in there. And speaking of safety, while we're at it, check out the mirrors. You can't see them in this camera view because I'm a terrible camera person. Let me show you this way. There is a little triangle in the mirror. You can see it in the TV there, right? That little triangle there. That is your blind spot detection. So of course you have blind spot detection, and that also means you have rear cross traffic alert, which means when I put this in reverse, and because I'm lazy, I'm only going to look here, right? And then I need to be alerted if something's going to cross my path. Well, that's what it's good for, but it's also good for if I'm sitting here and there's a minivan beside me and I can't see out, I'm backing out of a parking spot, I can't see what's behind me, I can't see what's about to cross my path. The rear end of this car uses the same radar that it would use for the that system that tells you if a car's in the other lane. It uses the same system there, the same hardware, so it can warn you if something about to cross your path and do that kind of thing. So here's the deal, guys. My lights just turned out. I guess that means it's time to go answer your questions. Do me a favor. We got 91 people on. We should be able to hit 90 likes on this thing. So, blind spot, yeah. Let's see if we can hit 90 likes, but let's do it all together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody hit the like button together. If we do that, you'll see us blow past 100 viewers at one time if we all hit it together, and we can get a whole bunch of likes. So there's no reason we can't hit the 90. 90 of you are on right now. Let's keep going for it. All right, let me jump out of here. We're going to go rear seat and third row seat. I have a bit of a sore back today. Had it all week. But we're still going to climb in the third row seat for you. And if that's not worth a like, I don't know what is. There you go. My nemesis, the Elite. I think one of our regulars called it my nemesis, and she's right. All right, so we're going to take your questions now. Just make sure I'm catching up on your questions, and then we're going to jump right back in. So stay with us for a second as I try to get to your questions here, and then we'll skip ahead to. Oops, I got the wrong one here. Okay, there we go. What's the minimum or max speed for the forward collision avoidance to work? I don't have that memorized, but you're right. There is a speed. There's a speed at which it will stop. There's a speed at which it may not be able to stop. It can work up to highway speeds, I think. There are some variances in how that works. That is something that I will probably do a proper video on in the future, but I don't have them memorized. The problem when I go live is I just can't possibly memorize every spec, but you're absolutely right. Forward collision avoidance will have various speeds where it operates at best and where it does not operate. The other thing to keep in mind is forward collision avoidance. I always say you should test that like you test your airbags. Don't test them because it's something that if it senses that you're in control, it might just allow you to keep going. Oh, you obviously want to drive that way, and it'll let you do that. So it's not something you should rely on to stop the car. It's something that's designed if you are distracted to take over. So there is that. Okay, a whole bunch of questions in here. We purchased a 2022 Sorento SX wondering if it's an oil life indicator. Yes, you know what? We're going to have the Sorento SX in here tomorrow. We'll go through some of that stuff as well. So we should be able to show you some of that stuff there. And something says, if you get a text message that reads out very quietly, we'll show you how to do that as well. I've done a video on the volumes. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I have done a video on how to adjust those volumes. So if you want to send me a quick email, that's pro5.0, that's your username. Send me an email. There'll be a link in the description when this video is done, and I will send you a link to that video on how to adjust the volume. Just remind me again why I asked you to send me the email, and I'll send you a link to a video that I did that will allow you to adjust that volume that you want. Any chance ever have seen the new Karens on our shores again? Example of Rondo. I have owned 2 Rondos. I'm a fan of the Rondo. Don't know anything about the new Karens or whatever it is. I don't expect to see it here. It's based on the Seltos, and I think we're just going to stick with the Seltos here. That's my expectation. So, all right. The most tactile dashboard in a modern vehicle. Yeah, it does have actual buttons. Do you see Kia making the Telluride larger next generation, since the Sorento is a mid-size SUV and the Telluride is more larger, mid-size? So that's what's interesting is we have Seltos. We had the Sportage, which is very similar to the Seltos, but it's going to move away from the Seltos, but now it's going to be closer to the Sorento. The Sorento and Telluride, I do think there's enough differentiation there I think the next thing you're going to see that's larger than the Telluride, frankly, is the EV9 that we saw at the LA Auto Show. I've done videos on that at the LA Auto Show, so you can click into those and watch those. But yeah, I think the next Telluride, I don't even know if there will be a next Telluride. I think it may go fully electric. Who knows? But the EV9 is coming, and we've seen the concept car in person, so we'll see if that is there. Anybody seen a Tucson PHEV yet? Some people have had them delivered. I have not seen one here. How's Brantford Kia stock levels out in the parking lot? We have 20 cars in compounds, 5 of which I think showed up today. We haven't had, I think in December there were several times we were down to 4 cars on the lot, 4 new cars on the lot. So things are getting better. All right, let's keep jumping in on this video here. We got 66 people that said, you know what, this is worth a like. We're going for 90. Actually, I'm going for 100 now, but we're just gonna say 90 until we get there, and then I'm gonna beg you for 100. Let's keep going. All right, jumping in here, rear seats, rear doors. Big rear doors. So one of the reasons you're gonna like a car this size, you have very large rear doors. Now, the new Sportage is going to have very competitive legroom to this, but it's not probably going to have one function that this car does have, and that's the ability to slide that seat all the way forward. When you do that, obviously I can't sit there, but you can create a lot of space for your third row passenger, and you can create space for your luggage, which is kind of a nice thing to have. I'm gonna put it back right there. There is the most forward position it can go into and lock into safely, so you could drive there. One interesting thing is you have a cup holder in the door. The reason you have a cup holder in the door is because the higher trim levels of this car, they don't have a center seat right here. They don't have a center seat, which means that this armrest here with the cup holders don't exist in those models. So you have cup holders here and cup holders in the door on this trim level, which is nice to have. They do a good job of equipping this car. You know what? I'm gonna move this back a little bit just so I can get in a little easier, and then we'll move it back up when I'm in. Remember, Peter's got a sore back today. All right. So when I jump in here, first of all, you're gonna see a couple things. Come on, camera. Okay. You know what? Let's go back to me for just a split second. When we come in here, the seat is uncomfortably forward, and we're gonna move it forward like this. No matter where I am, headroom is fine. Now, here's the funny thing. When I sit here, again, I'm uncomfortably upright. I can fix that in a second. But even at the most forward position, 6-footer sitting behind a 6-footer, I have as much space in here as I do in my Santa Cruz. Now, my Santa Cruz has a little bit more of a backrest, kind of like this, so you're a little bit tilted back, and I can go way back. So quite far back here. While I'm here, I'm gonna peel off some plastic here. Remember I said shipping plastic? All right, so we'll peel that off. But you can kind of go to a nice full recline, and then of course you can put the seat a long ways back. Now I'm fully reclined, and I've got the seat fully back. One big thing is my legs are always flush on the seat here, but check this out, like knee space here is immense. There's like a foot of space there. I could put probably almost my whole shoe there, 8 inches, maybe at least, of space between my knees and there. So you can create a lot of space here, and that's a big advantage with being able to move this seat forward and back. Now let's come around here. They do things really right here. So you've got the pocket here that's kind of a thinner, tighter pocket. Then you've got the stretchier pocket where you can put stuff in there. You've got the USB port on the back of the seat here, which is really brilliant. That's a good idea. Down here, you've got vents here, which is what you want. You've got a 12-volt port and a USB port, and they both have doors on them. So you can sort of cover, or sorry, just the one has a door on it. So you can cover that up, but USB port there. So combine that with the USB port on the driver's seat, and every middle row passenger has a USB port. There's also 3 USB ports in the front, so more than every person out front has a USB. And again, same pockets on the driver's side as well. So both sides, both pockets, really well done on this Sorento. Or sorry, yeah, on the Sorento. I almost said Sportage again. So comfortable is not even an issue here. I do wish they had a bench seat like this in the 2.5 liter turbo, but they don't. And I just think that's something that's interesting you can get here. Now, what I'm gonna do is this seat here, I'm gonna leave it fully back. So the 60-40 split, the 60 side is fully back. So when I go into third row seat, you're gonna see how much legroom the bare minimum is. But remember, it's reasonable, it's logical for me to move this way forward if I had a third row passenger in there to create more leg space. But just because I'm a glutton for punishment, I'm gonna show you the least comfortable position it could be back there, and then we'll grow it from there by putting the seats forward. So let's go over here, and let's jump in those rear seats right now. Jumping in, I'm just gonna go to this side because I wanted to leave that one side the way it was. I guess I left the car on, that's why it's beeping at me. All right, so this seat, what I'm gonna do to move it forward is very simply press this button right here. Collapses, it moves forward, it's just like hopping in a 2-door car. This doesn't look like a ton of space, but remember, I have a sore back, and I'm gonna show you how easy this is to get in. Oh, you know what? I should really put the seat up. All right, let's do that. Okay, that's gonna matter to have the seat up. Sorry for my terrible camera work, but I'm not sitting on the floor. All right, so here's me getting in this car. Easy, easy, easy. Jump in here, sit back here, and I'm in. Headroom, how's headroom? It's good, it's fine. It's not, you know, it's not huge, but it's enough. I'm a 6-footer sitting back here. Now remember, I left that 60-40 split seat up. So here I am, third row seat, got enough headroom, and my knees, I don't know if you can see it here, I can't get enough light in here, but my knees are just clear of this seat. I can fit back here with this seat way, way, way too far back. So again, do I want to sit here for 3 hours? No, especially not with this seat like this. Can I go to Toronto from here, which is about an hour drive? Yeah, I'll do that as an adult. Beyond an hour, the one thing that's really going to be a problem is my legs are up. I like my legs flush on the seat. If your legs aren't flush on the seat, you're not going to be comfortable on a long trip. And that's really important to anybody buying a Tesla right now, because all of your Teslas' rear seats are terrible. Doesn't matter what model you get. I like the Teslas, but not the rear seats. All right, so let's just pull this seat back for a second. Okay, so now what we've done is, I don't know if I could film this correctly. Oh boy, let's just do the awkward thing here. So now you've got my knees here. I'm wearing black, which super helps. But there's the seat back kind of in a mid position. This seat here. So again, we got the 60-40 split seat here. So 60 piece is here, 40 seats there. And in that mid position, I have probably about 6 inches here. And that's a perfectly comfortable, let me sort of see if I can show you this way. Probably should have done the 60-40 instead of the 40. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it at all. I'm a terrible camera person. Anyways, the point is, here is my knees there. Totally roomy, filming black in a black interior. While I'm back here, just beside me here, let's see if I can get a better light in here. There's a light right here. Oh, isn't that nice? All right, so we've got, let me just flip the camera around because that's just gonna be easier for me to do it this way. And there we go. So over on this side, this is where I was sitting to my right side. You've got the little vent there. There's a vent on both sides. There's also a little controller here. Again, shipping plastic on there, so it doesn't look very nice. On, off, and fan speed for the rear air conditioner. And then when we get to the trunk, we can flip these middle row seats down, which we'll do in a minute. And there's a 12-volt port back here as well. So where are we headed? We're headed for the trunk. There's 117 of you on right now. I'm stuck in the back seat. So while I have some terrible camera work climbing out of here, just hit that like button. Ignore what you're gonna see filming because there's no way for me to comfortably film this and get out. Oh, how do you get out of here? Remember I hit that little button on the side of the seat? Well, now there's one on the top as well. I'm gonna hit that button right there with a finger and it's super easy to get out. And put a hand on the door and we are out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, come on camera, oh boy. We're gonna put this seat all the way back there as well. So that's what I meant to do, film it this way. Wow, cameraman scores. So there's the seat all the way back again. Now what we're gonna do is go to the trunk space. We're gonna look at trunk space, which is the minimum possible because those middle row seats are all the way back. Oh, I always get confused. The Sorento, all of our previous vehicles used to have a button there. The Sorento has it down at the bottom there, which is a little touchpad right there to open the trunk, and I always get confused. All right, if you need the third row of your Sorento, you're gonna consider putting some sort of luggage rack up top there. If you always are gonna use these seats for a long trip, you're not gonna have a ton of trunk space. And I mean that because underneath here, you have the jack because you do have a spare tire, and that's your underfloor storage. It's just not a lot with the trunk open. You can go to a Telluride, get significantly more, or you can put these seats down. Is there cargo cover available for this Sorento? It doesn't come standard with it, but there are the cutouts in the side, which that doesn't always happen. So when you have the cargo cover or the cutouts in the side there, you can get a cargo cover in this car. So let's put these seats down for a second. We'll do our little teddy bear test. That's super easy to do. Again, I'm just pulling this down. Watch the headrest there. Headrest already drops. And then I'm gonna pull it, give it a little push past there. It drops down. I let it slam because that's how we work here. And again, there's your trunk space. And again, it can be expanded a lot when you put the seats forward. So I'm gonna take Teddy Bear for a second. Teddy Bear is our trunk measurement tool. If you've never seen Teddy, you should give him a like. I'm gonna turn this light off before I forget so I don't have an issue with it later. All right, Teddy Bear is in here. The Sorento is just a large SUV. It's a mid-size SUV, but it's just got a good sized trunk. Now, if I want to put those middle row seats down, because let's say Teddy's going to invite some friends over and he wants to have a little sleepover in the back of the van, and hey, whatever you do, Teddy, I'm cool with it. I'm not here to judge you. So if he wants to have some friends over, I can't reach those seats, right? So what we're going to do is just press these two buttons right here, left side and right side. I'm going to hit the right button in a second. Left side's already gone. Hit the right button right now. See you later, seat. Works great. So that folds those seats down, and then Teddy Bear can have all kinds of friends. And you know what, Teddy? Whatever you do in the back seat of the car, that's your business, man. You be you, Teddy. All right, so we're gonna let the trunk shut now. This is not a powered trunk on this trim line. It does have a handle here though, and I like the handle because you're not gonna scratch the paint when you go to shut it. All right, 29 and a half minutes in, we hit 90 likes. You guys are amazing. So 112 people on, there's still room for more likes. What that means is there's probably gonna be 500, 600, 700 people throughout this video, and only like, less than 10% are gonna leave a like, and that's cool. You aren't judging Teddy, but Teddy is judging you. That's a good comment because Teddy does judge me. He sits there and he looks at me all day and he doesn't look happy. All right, what happens if in Teddy's trunks, what happens in Teddy's trunk stays in the trunk? Yeah, that's good. Oh, we're gonna cross some lines if I start reading everything that comes up on screen now. Okay, I won't read everything. Can you get a Sorento without the third seat or take out the third seat? No, that's called a Santa Fe. And Santa Fe has different option packages. So my pants are wet here because I leaned up against the wet car. And it looks like I wet myself, which is another fun thing that's going on today. Okay, so no, the Sorento is always at least third row. If you get the turbo models or the hybrid models or the plug-in hybrid models, you're gonna have 2 seats in the front, 2 seats in the middle, and 2 seats in the rear. So if there's 6 passenger cars, this is the only one you can get that's a 7 passenger car. In all honesty, you need a Telluride Palisade for a third row. My Palisade is roomy. Yeah, 100%. So the point of the third row in this car is taking an extra couple kids to school. You've got your family, maybe a couple extra kids home. Maybe it's your secondary vehicle, and sometimes you have to take the kids, but not always. Those kind of thing. They're really kid-sized seats, but you can fit an adult back in there. My favorite story is when I had 2 child seats in my Kia Rondo, which was a much smaller vehicle, and it had a third row seat as well. And my mother-in-law came with us to a restaurant, and because the child seats were in place and I didn't want to take them out, I got to the restaurant, I opened the trunk, and my mother-in-law climbed out of the trunk. So it was fun to watch. I'm sure we looked great. But anyways, the point is with these third row seats is they are not minivan class third row seats for comfort. They are short around town seats. They are small children seats. They are perfectly fine, but they do rob your cargo area. So if you have a need for a temporary type seat, this is a great option. If you don't need those seats, then we go back to my argument. Let's also consider the new Sportage, because the new Sportage is coming out and it is nearly the same size. Okay, somebody says they love the way I always throw shade at Tesla seats. Tesla seats are crap. The rear seats are crap. They're not good. And it's not because it's an EV, because the Ioniq 5 has way better rear seats. So there we go. Are there other wheels available? Yes and no. That's a great question. Not everybody loves these. Some people think they're perfectly fine. I should point out that these wheels are a little bit trickier to see on camera than they are in person. They're actually more than just the silver. There's that black painted out sort of section there as well. This trim line comes with these wheels. If you go a lower trim line, they are 1 inch smaller wheels, but the diameter of the tire is the same, so you have a little bit more sidewall. Then there are 5-spoke wheels on that one. And if you go higher trim levels, you have different wheels again. So on this particular trim line, that is your wheel choice. And one of the reasons to have a Sorento or a Sportage over a Sorento as well is for the price point, the Sportage is likely to have more technology for the price point, and that might be something that matters to you. So that's, again, if we're waiting for those Sportage, we're gonna have a lot more Sportage videos coming up, so I'm full on into talking about Sportage as well in the future. But these wheels on this trim level, that's what you get. So, all right. Somebody says, give Peter some likes, and they did. We're over 100. I really appreciate that. That's awesome, guys. What's a turnaround for factory order PHEV? PHEV is gonna be a little while. I haven't asked since December-ish, so now we're into January, I'm not sure. If you want one of these vehicles or the gasoline ones, they turn around fairly quickly given today's market. We don't have a whole lot in stock available for sale. Actually, there might even be 1 or 2 in stock that are coming in the next week or so that we can sell right off the lot. But there are, the gasoline cars are quicker than the hybrids or the PHEVs, and I think the hybrids, again, are quicker than the PHEVs. But I have to double check. I don't check every car daily because there's just a lot of cars in the 2 brands, and they all are on different schedules. So it's just hard for me to remember. Somebody says they want my jacket. I think you can work for Kia and get this jacket. That's how I got it. I didn't pay for this. It's part of my uniform that they give me, and I'm totally fine with uniforms because, as you can tell by my hairstyle, fashion isn't my thing. Okay, Peter, we need a merch line. Yeah, I don't think we do. I don't think I can handle the embarrassment of nobody buying my merchandise. Although if we did, it would be pretty bad. Okay, what do we got here? Delivery's 4 to 5 months for us in the UK. I don't think it's that long. Ooh, PHEV, it could be similar to that. PHEV could be. Okay, if I missed your question, there's a number of comments in here. I may have missed it. Feel free to ask it again if you're still on. So 10.25 inch screen, somebody's saying something with a little bit of French in here or something like that, but they're asking about the 10.25 inch screen, wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. The long story short is it doesn't have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and if you bought that car today with a 10.25 inch screen, it will not have there's not going to be an upgrade. So I did get them to confirm that for me. So no, somebody else says they feel my pain. They've got things acting up with them as well. Yeah. All right. Okay, so I think, guys, we're going to leave it there. So what is our plan for tomorrow? Tomorrow, we're going to go back to the Sorento. We're not going to go to Hyundai tomorrow. We're going to stay with the Sorento. We're going to look at the SX model. There's a new one with they call it red leather, but I'm sure it's the burgundy leather interior. I haven't seen it yet. It's somewhere on the lot here. We're going to pull that one in, and we're going to pull in, I think we'll just pull 2 SX models in tomorrow. So we're going to take a look at that. We'll go through some of your questions on the technology of that kind of thing as well, because that car, we're going to touch more on the technology. The sizing is all the same, but we're going to go through that tech tomorrow. And like I said, probably on Friday, we're going to look at, we will have a Hyundai vehicle back here on Friday, potentially the Ioniq 5 again, because there's a lot of questions you guys are still asking about that, which it might just be easier to make another video on that. So that's our plan. Got 112 people that said this is worth a like, and you guys are amazing. This has been a fun start to the year. We have a lot of things planned, including test drive series. We're going to add a lot more in 2022. So give us a couple weeks here to ramp up in January, and you'll start seeing more and more from this channel. We have plans to grow, plans to go bigger. So, and that's all thanks to you guys giving us enough likes and watch time to make it worthwhile for me to continue to make more of these and really to be doing less of other stuff. So I appreciate that. All right. Okay. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow on more Sorentos, and you guys are the best. We'll talk to you soon.